The last hope. The sky above Earth was burning. Ships exploded in the air like firecrackers. The final human base on Mars shook as alien bombs hit the ground. Inside the command center, Commander Jace Riven stood still, his eyes cold and focused. He was tall with short black hair and a scar across his jaw. The war had changed him. Once a young, hopeful soldier, now he was a tired but strong leader. Behind him, officers shouted, screens flashed red, and soldiers ran in panic. "We can't hold them for long," said Lieutenant Mara. "We've lost sectors 7 through 9. We're surrounded." Jace didn't answer. He just stared at the main screen. It showed hundreds of alien ships in the sky, Xerians. Tall, glowing, deadly. The war had gone on for 12 years and humans were losing. "This is our last hope," Mara whispered. Jace nodded slowly. "Not yet. Not until I say so." Just then, the explosions stopped. Silence filled the room. Everyone looked around. Outside, the alien ships held position in the sky, unmoving. No attacks, no movement, just stillness. "What's happening?" a young officer asked. A beep came from the comms panel, an incoming message. Jace walked over and pressed the button. A deep, echoing voice filled the room. "Commander Jace Riven. She requests your presence. Come alone. No weapons. You have 10 minutes, Mara frowned. "She? Who is she?" Jace's eyes narrowed. "The Queen." Everyone stared at him. "You've met her?" Mara asked. Jace didn't answer right away. He walked to a small room, opened a locker, and took out a sealed case. Inside was a small metal device, a recording. He pressed play. A hologram appeared. A tall female Xerian with glowing blue skin, sharp eyes, and silver markings on her face. She looked powerful and dangerous, but also calm. The image showed her standing in front of Jace somewhere in the past. "This was 3 years ago," Jace said. "During a mission on Virion 9. I was captured. She came to speak with me. I thought she would kill me, but she didn't." "What did she say?" Mara asked. "She asked why I saved one of her people. A child." "You saved an alien child?" Jace nodded. "We were fighting. I saw a small Xerian girl trapped under a fallen wall. My men told me to leave her. I didn't." The room went quiet. "And now," he said, "she wants to speak again." "You can't go," Mara said. "It's a trap." "Maybe," Jace replied. "But maybe it's something else." He looked out the window. The sky was still full of enemy ships, but none were attacking. "If there's even a small chance to stop this war, I have to try." 10 minutes later, Jace stood alone in the open field outside the base. A small alien craft landed in front of him. The door opened. A soft blue light shone from inside. Jace took a deep breath and stepped. The ship rose silently into the sky. Through the window, he saw the Earth below, scarred, broken, but still alive. After a few minutes, the ship landed inside a much larger alien vessel. He stepped out and found himself in a wide hall. The walls were dark metal, with glowing lines, running through them like veins. Then she appeared, Queen Seraphis. She walked toward him with slow, graceful steps. She wore armor made of crystal and metal. Her eyes glowed faintly and her voice echoed when she spoke. "Commander Jace Riven, we meet again." Jace bowed his head slightly. "Queen Seraphis, you came. Alone. That shows courage." "I didn't come to fight, I came to listen." The Queen tilted her head. "Strange. A human who listens." She walked past him and waved her hand. A large screen lit up, showing the Earth from space. "This war," she said, "has burned across 12 planets. Millions are dead. For what?" "Survival," Jace replied. "And yet, you saved one of mine." Jace stayed silent. "I remember her face," the Queen said. "The child you saved. She lives. She dreams of peace." Jace looked at her. "So do I." There was a pause. Then the Queen turned to him. "There may be a way," she said softly, "but not through more fire." "What are you offering?" "A choice," A test. Come to our city. Walk among my people. See the truth. Alone? Yes. And if I do, then we talk about what comes next. Back in the command center, Mara stared at the screen. The alien ship with Jace inside disappeared into space. Do you think he'll come back? An officer asked. Mara didn't answer. She watched the stars and whispered, he better. Because if he didn't, Earth was finished. The Queen's eyes. The ship moved silently through space, like a ghost gliding between stars. Commander Jace Riven sat, alone, surrounded by strange blue light and humming alien energy. The seat beneath him felt warm, like it was alive. The Xerian ship had no buttons, no windows, only the strange pulsing of the walls, as if the ship breathed with him. He wasn't afraid, but he wasn't calm either. His mind was spinning. Why her? Why now? Why him? The war had taken everything. Friends, family, hope. And now the enemy queen had called him alone to her world, not for a fight, not for surrender, but something else. The ship spoke suddenly, not with words, but with feeling. You are close. The door opened. Outside, a wide alien city stretched beneath twin suns. Huge towers made of crystal and metal reached the sky. Floating roads glowed with light. It was beautiful and terrifying. No guards met him. No weapons pointed at him. Only silence. He stepped out. As Jace walked through the streets, Xerians appeared, watching him from balconies, rooftops, windows. Tall, glowing beings, elegant and dangerous. They didn't speak, but they stared, some in confusion, some in hate, some in curiosity. Then, without warning, two young Xerian children ran toward him. A soldier nearby stepped forward to stop them, but a voice rang out, "Let them be." It was her, Queen Seraphis. She walked slowly, her silver cloak trailing behind her. Light danced on her armor. Her face was unreadable, calm, cold, and full of secrets. The children looked up at her, then ran back into the shadows. "You walk calmly," she said, approaching him. "I'm trying not to look scared." Jace replied. "Then you are doing well." He looked around. "No guards? No tricks? You are safe here. For now." She led him to a high platform overlooking the city. A breeze passed, carrying the scent of glowing trees. "I never imagined your world like this," Jace said. "You were taught we are monsters," she answered. "We were taught the same." There was a pause. Then Seraphis turned to him. "You saved a child of mine. Do you know what that means to us?" Jace nodded slowly. "No." She touched a crystal on the platform. A projection appeared, images from years ago, footage of Jace lifting a small Xerian girl from rubble, protecting her while his team shouted at him to leave. "You were not ordered to save her. You did it anyway." "Why?" "She was just a kid," Jace said. "War or not, she didn't deserve to die." Seraphis looked at him, really looked, deep into his soul. "Not all humans would make that choice. Not all Xerians would let me live afterward," he replied. A small smile touched her lips for the first time. "There is something you must see." She led him underground, deep into the heart of the city. They passed rooms filled with glowing plants, chambers of floating books, and ancient murals on the walls, paintings of a time before the war. Finally, they reached a circular chamber with a tall, silver structure in the center. It hummed softly. "This is the core," she said. "It holds memories of our ancestors and predictions of our future." Jace stepped closer. The structure lit up as he approached. Lights moved, scanning his face, his body, his blood. Then, it reacted. It glowed gold. Seraphis's eyes widened. "What's happening?" Jace asked. She was silent. Then she spoke, her voice slow and careful. "This machine only reacts to royal blood, or to one marked by fate." "What does that mean?" It means you may be more than just a soldier. The core showed a vision, two figures, one human, one Zarian, standing together, hands joined. Behind them, two armies, then peace, then stars filled with life, not war. Jace stared at the image. You think that's me? He asked. Seraphis turned to him. You saved a child of my kind. You survived in our world. The core recognizes you. There is something rare in your blood. She walked closer, her voice lower now. Our scientists studied the girl you saved. She carried a rare blood trait, one that matches yours. It is extremely rare, and only appears when two species are genetically aligned for one purpose. What purpose? Seraphis looked him in the eye. Unity. Back above the city, the sky darkened as night came. Jace stood alone on a high balcony, watching the lights of the alien world. He had come expecting death. He found prophecy, vision, and a strange connection with the enemy queen. Mara's voice played in his head. You better come back. But what if he didn't? What if his destiny was not to fight this war, but to end it? Footsteps came behind him. It was Seraphis again. She handed him a glowing ring, crafted from Zarion crystal. What is this? He asked. A question, she replied. You don't have to answer it now. Is this what I think it is? She nodded. Our traditions are old, strong. But if peace is to be real, it must begin not with armies, but with us. You're serious. I am. He stared at the ring. This would change everything. Yes, it will make you hated, hunted, feared, by your people, and mine. Then why offer it? She stepped closer. Because I've looked into your eyes, Jace Riven, and I saw something I never expected. Mercy, honor, hope. The moment was heavy. The stars above them blinked slowly as if listening. Jace looked out into the distance. Give me time, he said. You have 3 days. On the 4th, the battle continues. She turned to leave, but paused. When you decide, she said, don't think like a soldier. Think like a man who wants to stop the dying. The blood code. The door to the Queen's tower closed behind him, but Jace Riven's mind was wide open. He walked through the glowing streets of Zirion Prime, still wearing the human armor that marked him as an enemy. Around him, aliens watched. From the shadows, some curious, some afraid, and some full of quiet hate. But no one attacked. Not yet. Jace kept thinking about the crystal ring, the way it pulsed in his hand, the way Queen Seraphis had looked at him, not as a soldier, not as a prisoner, but as something else. He reached the living quarters they had prepared for him. The walls shimmered with warm light. There was no bed, no chairs, just soft resting stones and floating screens. Alien comfort. He couldn't rest. Not tonight. A light flashed. A soft tone rang in the room. Someone was at the door. Jace stepped forward. The door opened. It wasn't the Queen. It was a Zirion, tall, with deep silver skin and cold eyes. He wore a coat of smooth bone armor and held a glowing data crystal in his hand. I am Dr. Kale, he said. The Queen sent me. We must talk. Privately. They walked through the halls in silence. Kyle led him into a chamber unlike anything Jace had seen. A laboratory, but alive. Walls moved slightly, breathing. Machines floated instead of standing. Beakers glowed like stars. Sit, Kale said. Jace sat. Kale placed the data crystal on the table. It lit up with hundreds of symbols. You are not just here because of kindness, Kale began. You are here because the Queen believes you carry a rare trait in your blood. Jace frowned. A genetic match. Yes, but it is more than that. Kale waved his hand over the crystal. A hologram appeared. It showed a double helix, DNA, but glowing, shifting, human, and something else. This, Kale said, is your blood. What's wrong with it? Nothing is wrong. What's inside it should be impossible. Kale zoomed in on a glowing section. You carry a Zerion sequence. Not just a match. It is woven into your blood. It is ancient. Jace leaned forward. How? I'm not one of you. No. But someone in your bloodline was. The silence felt heavy. Jace's thoughts spun. His heart pounded. You're saying, someone in my family? Kale nodded. We believe a human and a Zerion came together many generations ago. It was hidden, covered, denied by both sides. That's not possible. We've only known about your kind for what, 40 years? Kyle looked at him sharply. You have known. But we've watched your kind for 400. Jace stood up. You were here before first contact? Kale didn't answer. He handed Jace a small memory disk. There is something else. The child you saved. She grew up. She now leads one of our healer clans. She gave us something. The screen changed. A blurry image. Jace, younger, in a burning building, lifting the small Zerion child from rubble. Behind him, another human soldier, gun raised, shouting. Then it paused. Look at your face, Kale said. Look at your eyes. Jace leaned in. His eyes glowed faintly blue in the image. No one saw it. Then, Kale said, but we see it now. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the lab. Kale tensed. Someone has entered restricted airspace. Jace reached for a weapon, forgot he didn't have one. Kale pressed a wall crystal. A window opened. A human scout ship hovered in the sky. Guns charged. Warning lights blinking. They're here for me, Jace muttered. Kale's voice was calm. They think you've been taken, but they don't know the truth. Then let me talk to them. Too late. The ship fired a warning blast. Zerion. Defenses rose up, silent turrets glowing from the city towers. In seconds, the human ship was locked in a targeting field. Don't shoot, Jace shouted. Please, give me one chance. Kyle hesitated, then opened a channel. Jace spoke quickly. This is Commander Jace Riven to human scout ship Echo 12. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. I am not a prisoner. I am on a diplomatic mission. Silence. Then a voice. Jace? My God. Riven. Is that you? Mara. Are you okay? We thought you were dead. What's going on? I can't explain everything now, just trust me, stand down. What the hell are you doing with the enemy? I think I'm about to change everything. The channel went dead. Echo 12 turned and flew away. Kyle stared at Jace, quiet. You gave up your rescue. I wasn't being rescued, Jace said. I was being used. I understand that now. That night, Jace returned to his chamber. He sat alone, the data disk from Kale still glowing beside him. He stared at the ring the Queen had given him. It wasn't just symbolic, it was truth. His blood, his past, his purpose. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a bridge between two enemies. But bridges are dangerous, they can be built or burned. A soft knock came at his door. It was Queen Seraphis. She entered slowly, standing close to him. Your people came. I know. They may come again. I know that too. She sat beside him. What do you see when you look at me? She asked softly. Jace didn't answer right away. I see someone who is tired of death. Like me. And yet, she said, we were both trained to cause it. They sat in silence. Then Jace spoke. I know about the blood, about the history. I guessed you would. Why me? He asked. Because you saved instead of killed, she replied. Because you walked into my world unarmed, and because something in you matches something in me. You think a marriage can stop a war? No, she said. But it can. Begin something that might. The next morning the Queen stood before her council. They argued, shouted, protested. He is human. He is a threat. He is a prophecy. She raised her hand. Silence. She turned to her generals. We have 3 days. On the 4th, the war resumes, unless he accepts my offer. What if he says yes? One general asked. Then, everything changes. Meanwhile, on Earth, news of Jace's survival spread. Some cheered. Others raged. The High Command held an emergency meeting. Commander Riven has aligned himself with the enemy. One officer shouted. He has infiltrated their society. Another argued. We can use this. No, General Halter said. He's gone rogue. We end this now. A team was assembled, codename Ghost Hammer, target Commander Jace Riven, traitor or savior. A ship descended from the stars like a falling prayer. It was sleek, black, and marked not with the flag of Earth, but with the crest of Xerion. And inside it, Jace Riven came home. The landing bay on Mars Base Alpha buzzed with activity. Soldiers stood in tight formation, guns ready, orders silent. Behind them, high-ranking officials watched with cold eyes. As the ship touched down, General Halter stepped forward. Open the doors, he ordered. Inside the ship, Jace looked at himself, in the reflection of the door. His eyes were tired, his mind was full, his heart divided, but he had made his choice. He stepped out. No one cheered, no one moved, only silence. Commander Riven, Halter said flatly, you've been missing for 6 days. I wasn't missing, Jace replied. I was making contact with the enemy, with the truth. Minutes later, he sat alone in an interrogation chamber. The lights were too bright, the air too cold. Halter stood across the table. You were seen walking freely in an alien city, talking to their queen, wearing their symbol. Jace nodded. And now you show up with this? He threw the Xerion ring on the table. Jace said nothing. You understand what this looks like? I understand exactly what it looks like, Jace said calmly. But you're looking at it the wrong way. Halter leaned in. Then explain. Jace took a deep breath. The queen offered peace. Not surrender, not tricks, real peace. She offered a bond between her and me. You mean marriage? Yes. Halter laughed bitterly. You expect Earth to believe this? That you fell in love with the enemy? Jace's voice stayed firm. This isn't just about love, it's about survival. About destiny, about what's in our blood. He reached into his coat and placed the memory disk from Dr. Kale on the table. This shows what they found in my DNA. I'm not just a soldier, anymore. I'm part of something bigger, and if we ignore this— Enough! Halter barked. You are a decorated officer, a war hero. And now you return as what? A messenger? A traitor? Jace stood. I came back to stop a war. Halter glared at him. You think this is peace? You walked into their trap, and now you're helping them walk into ours. He slammed a button on the table. Commander Jace Riven, you are under arrest for treason. They locked him in a black cell beneath the base. No light, no clock, no sound, just time and memory. He thought about Seraphis, the way she had touched his hand. No fear, no command, just calm belief. He thought about the child he'd saved, the prophecy in the core, the blood code, and he thought about Earth. Would they ever understand? Would they ever want to? Above ground, Mara paced outside the command tower. Her heart raced. She had heard the whispers. Jace returned. Arrested. Charged. She couldn't believe it. He had always been reckless. Brave, but not a traitor. She hacked into the command logs. It took her 10 minutes to find the hidden file. Ghost Hammer, priority kill. Her hands shook. They weren't just holding him. They were planning to execute him. That night, she acted. She slipped through security, cut cameras, overrode the prison doors. Inside, Jace looked up as the lights flickered on. She stood there, helmet off, breath fast. Mara, he said softly. You idiot, she said. Do you know what they're going to do to you? Yeah. Then get up. We're leaving. They escaped through the ventilation system. Sirens blared minutes later. Soldiers ran. But Mara's stolen codes delayed them. They reached a hidden hangar deep in the base. Inside waited a small old shuttle. Unregistered, forgotten, perfect. Jace stopped at the ramp. If I go with you? I can't come back. Mara turned. Do you want to come back? Jace looked toward the stars. No. They flew for hours. Jace told her everything. The DNA, the prophecy, the ring, the queen. At first, she just listened. Then she asked, Do you love her? I don't know, he said. But I believe in what she's offering. And I believe it has to be me. Mara didn't speak for a long time. Then finally she said, Then let's make sure they don't kill you before the wedding. Back. On Zirian Prime, Queen Seraphis stood in her throne hall. Her generals were restless. The humans will never agree, one said. This is madness. She held the glowing ring in her hand. They will. Because they must. And if they don't? She looked out at the twin moons. Then we finish this war. The shuttle landed outside the city. A special escort brought them into the tower. Seraphis stood waiting. She and Jace locked eyes across the hall. I was afraid you would not return, she said. I was afraid I would, he answered. She stepped forward and placed the ring in his hand again. Do you choose this path, she asked. He didn't hesitate. I do. Mara watched from the side. Seraphis looked at her. You do not trust me. Not yet, Mara said, but he does. That's enough for now. Across the galaxy, Earth Command received the signal. Jace's message. A proposal. An offer of peace. But not everyone wanted peace. Some saw weakness, some saw betrayal, and some saw opportunity. The council argued for hours. In the shadows, a new order was given. Send the fleet. Jace stood beside Seraphis on a balcony as the wedding preparations began. Floating lights danced in the air. Alien music echoed through the city. He felt strange peace and deep fear, because he knew something was coming. Peace always demands a price. He looked at Seraphis. We have 3 days, he said. She nodded. And then, the world will change. The proposal on the battlefield. 2 armies stood at the edge of a broken world. Above, the sky glowed dark orange, torn by smoke, and the light of distant stars. Below, the shattered plains of Trinix 7 stretched for miles, ground cracked from old battles, air heavy with the silence before something massive. On the east side, the Terran forces waited, rows of armored tanks, steel walkers, and thousands of soldiers in black and gray holding plasma rifles close. The banners of Earth flapped behind them, though the wind had stopped long ago. On the west side, the Zirian Empire stood tall and still. No machines, only beings of light and armor, floating structures behind them and glowing beasts waiting like shadows. Between them was a neutral zone. 1 mile of empty land, no guns, no drones, only dirt and silence. And in the center of that, no man's land stood a black platform, freshly built, a single stage. For one moment, for one question, and an answer that would change everything. In orbit above, hundreds of ships from both sides floated in silence. Cameras were live. Every screen on Earth, every projection on Zirian Prime, every soldier, child, leader, and rebel across the galaxy was watching. The wedding of war and peace had begun, but no one trusted it. Every finger was still near a trigger. A small transport. Ship flew across the field. It landed in the center. The door opened. Commander Jace Riven stepped out. He wore a black ceremonial coat, a mix of Earth military and Zirian crystal trim. On his chest, no rank, no medals, just a simple silver ring hanging on a chain. He looked around. The tension in the air was crushing. Soldiers on both sides were staring. One shot, he thought, and it's all over. But he kept walking. Behind him, Mara followed. She wore full combat gear, ready for betrayal. "If this goes bad," she whispered, "I shoot first." Jace gave her a small smile. "Fair enough." He climbed the platform. A second ship came from the west. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen, shaped like a bird made of moonlight. It landed without sound, and from it, Queen Seraphis stepped out. She wore royal armor made of crystal, glass and soft metal. Her crown glowed faint blue, her eyes brighter than any gem. She walked to the platform, tall and calm, like a goddess meeting her fate. Jace turned toward the crowd of humans, speaking into the microphone. "Today is not about surrender. It's not about power, it's about choice." He looked at the camera. "For 12 years we've killed, burned, blamed, and we've forgotten why we started. Maybe we were afraid. Maybe we wanted to survive. Maybe we were lied to." He turned to Seraphis. "I don't know if this will fix everything, but I know we have to try something different." He stepped forward, and slowly, he knelt. All cameras zoomed in. He opened a small Xerion box. Inside, a ring made from human steel and alien crystal, melted together. He looked up at her. "Seraphis of Xerion, Queen of the Lightborn, will you marry me?" The galaxy held its breath. Every heartbeat stopped. Every weapon clicked quietly. Seraphis looked at him, and for a moment, her face was unreadable. Then she turned to her generals, then to her people, and finally, back to him. "I will," she said softly, but a pause. Jace's chest tightened. "Only if you defeat me," she said, her voice now louder, echoing across both armies. In ritual combat, gasps rippled through both sides. Mara's mouth dropped open. "What the hell?" Jace stood. "Ritual combat? What are you talking about?" Seraphis's voice was steady. "In Xerion law, a bond must be forged through strength, through will, through pain. If I am to be your partner, you must earn me, in front of both our people." Jace looked at the armies. The tension returned like fire. "Seraphis, this wasn't the plan. It is now." The ritual circle formed. Around them, a glowing ring of alien light. The crowd backed away. Floating drones circled high to record. No weapons, no armor, only skill. Jace removed his coat. Seraphis stepped into the circle. Her voice whispered, just for him, "You must fight, like you want me, like you want peace. Show them, all of them." Jace nodded, and the battle began. She moved like wind, fast, sharp, elegant. Jace blocked, stumbled, dodged. He had fought in over 300 battles, but this was different. This was a dance of war and love. Seraphis struck with open palms and light punches, testing him, forcing him to show more than power, control. Jace responded with speed, agility, and respect. The crowd on both sides watched, confused, amazed, moved. A human soldier whispered, "He's not fighting her. He's proving to her." 10 minutes passed. They were both bruised, breathing hard. Then Seraphis swept his legs. He fell. She stood over him. "You can end it," he said. She paused. "I don't want to end it," she whispered. "I want to start it." She dropped her blade and knelt beside him. The light faded. The ritual was over. The air was silent again. And then, from the east, a single Earth officer clapped. Slowly, more joined. From the west, a Xerion commander bowed, and the armies, two species built to hate, watched their leaders choose each other. Seraphis helped Jace to his feet. He took the ring again. She held out her hand. This time, she said yes. They placed the rings on each other's fingers, and a blinding light filled the field, part human tech, part alien tradition. The galaxy watched as the impossible happened. But far away, deep inside a cloaked Earth warship, a red light turned on. A message blinked. Engage Plan B. Code. Black Lotus. A voice spoke from the shadows. They want peace. Then we'll give them war. Duel of Destiny. They were supposed to wake to peace. But instead, they woke to a trap. Hours after the ritual battle, Commander Jace Riven stood at the edge of the Zarian temple balcony. Below, the twin suns began to rise, casting gold and violet light across the city. He felt peace. Real peace. For the first time in years. Behind him, Queen Seraphis walked quietly toward him. She wore no armor now, only a long silver robe. Her eyes were soft. The Queen of the Zarians was smiling. "You look different," she said gently. "I feel different," Jace replied. "Lighter." She placed her hand on his. "The ceremony is tonight," she said. "When we complete the bond in front of both our councils, everything will change. We will be one." Jace turned to her. "Are you ready for that?" "No," she admitted, smiling. "But I am not afraid." He held her hand tighter. "Then neither am I." Elsewhere, beneath the city, someone was afraid and angry. General Threx, one of Seraphis's top commanders, stood in a dark chamber filled with red lights and shadows. Around him, 8 other figures appeared through hologram transmissions. "Zarion, extremists. Have you forgotten who she is?" one hissed. "She bonds with a human." "She is blinded by dreams," Threx growled. "But we are not." A human voice cut in from one of the dark screens. It was a Terran spy. "We have the implant ready. The moment the bonding ceremony begins, the Queen dies. And Riven? He'll watch her fall. The peace will die with her." The others said nothing. Only Threx spoke. "So be it." Later that evening, the bonding ceremony began. High above the city, atop the spire of unity, 2 great banners flew. One human, one Zarian. The wind howled. The night sky was full of drones, floating lights, and streaming broadcasts. The entire galaxy watched live. Leaders, soldiers, civilians, even enemies. Everyone waited. 2 pillars of light rose into the air, and from opposite sides, Jace Riven and Queen Seraphis walked onto the sacred platform. They were dressed in shared ceremonial robes, half of each symbol, woven together, a union never seen before. Between them stood the Elder Flame, a Zarian tradition, flames that read, "The truth of those who bonded before it." The elder priest lifted his arms. "Do you come with peace?" "I do," Seraphis said. "I do," Jace echoed. "Do you come with trust?" "I do. I do." "Do you come with blood, shared by fate?" They both nodded. The flame rose higher. The priest reached for the bond crystals, 2 glowing stones to be placed on their foreheads. But just as he lifted them, a blaster fired. The beam hit the priest in the chest. He collapsed. Screams filled the air. Jace immediately turned, shielding Seraphis. More shots rang out. Guards activated shields. Drones sparked and crashed. From above, Threx appeared, his armor black, face twisted in rage. "She dies tonight," he shouted. "No more lies." Seraphis stepped forward. "Threx, stop this. You betrayed our blood. I gave it hope." He fired again, this time at her. Jace shoved her aside, taking the shot in the arm. He dropped, bleeding. Threx moved in, but he didn't expect what came next. Jace got back up. His right arm hung useless, scorched by the energy blast. His left hand, clenched into a fist, still standing. Threx mocked. "Still enough to stop you," Jace growled. They clashed in the center of the broken ceremony, surrounded by fire and shattered lights. Blades replaced blasters. The duel began. Jace used his training. Quick, smart, strategic. Threx was stronger, but Jace was faster. Seraphis tried to help, but another attacker emerged. A human in rogue black armor. A double agent. He charged toward her with a dagger glowing red. Mara, watching from the crowd, leaped over the barrier and fired her sidearm. The traitor fell before reaching the Queen. "Next time," Mara said, reloading. Invite me to the damn wedding. Back at the center, Jace and Threx fought brutally. Each strike was heavier than the last. Blood on the ground. Fire all around. Threx grabbed Jace by the neck, lifting him. You are no leader. You are no bridge. You are just a man who got lucky. Jace coughed, barely breathing. You're right, he whispered. I'm just a man. Then he slammed his knee into Threx's side and broke free. He grabbed a broken metal rod and spun, driving it into Threx's leg. The general fell. Jace stood over him, panting, face burning. You want to destroy peace? You'll have to go through me every time. Threx roared and charged again. This time, Seraphis joined the fight. Together they disarmed him. She held the tip of her spear to his chest. Threx looked up at her. You are no queen. She looked down, calm and cold. No. I am more. She struck. The general dropped. The fire faded. The rogue agents were captured. The wounded were taken. The platform was rebuilt. And Jace, arm still bleeding, turned to Seraphis. We finished this. She nodded. This time there was no priest. No formal words. Just two people. She took the bond crystal and placed it gently on his forehead. He did the same. The stones glowed. Bright white. The elder flame rose high again, unshaken by violence. And then, it turned gold. Something that hadn't happened in Xerian history for over 10,000 years. A perfect bond. Two souls, one purpose. Across the galaxy, people gasped. On both sides, humans and Xerians. Some fell to their knees. And others clenched their fists, because not everyone was ready for what came next. Later that night, Jace stood at the highest balcony of the spire. Mara joined him, arm bandaged, eyes tired. That was one hell of a wedding, she said. He laughed weakly. Still not too late to run, you know. She shook her head. Nah. I want to see how this ends. He looked out at the stars. I don't think it ends anymore. I think it begins. But deep in space. Hidden fleet activated. Ships not marked by Earth or Xerian. Ships with no name, no flag. Only one symbol. The Black Lotus. Their leader spoke just one word. Strike. Peace or illusion? The galaxy held its breath. On every planet where humans lived, and in every floating city of the Xerians, people spoke one name. Jace Riven. The man who fought for peace. The man who married the enemy. The man who bled beside the queen. But peace was never a promise. It was a risk, a gamble, and not everyone wanted it to win. Deep in the Orion expanse, a fleet of black ships moved silently across space. No flags, no lights, no mercy. They called themselves the Black Lotus, a rogue force made of both human and alien warlords, ex-soldiers, pirates, and radicals. United only by one belief: peace was weakness. Their leader was known only as Valen, a former Terran admiral who vanished after the siege of Jupiter. Thought dead, now reborn as the galaxy's ghost, and tonight, he was ready to burn everything. On Xerian Prime, in the center of the Unity Spire, Jace and Seraphis stood before their joint council. The marriage was sealed, the bond accepted. A new government had been formed, the alliance of two sons, two races, one future. War is no longer our way, Seraphis declared. From today forward, Jace said, we fight only to protect. Cheers echoed across both cities. Crowds filled the airways. Children wore robes of both sides. Soldiers removed old patches and stitched on new ones. It felt like peace had won, until the lights went dark. An emergency signal flashed in the sky, red beams cutting through clouds like a warning scream. Mara burst into the council chamber. They're here. Jace stood up. Who? She handed him a holopad. Unknown fleet. Thousands of ships, cloaked until now. They jumped in from the Orion line. They're not responding to hails. Jace looked at the data, coordinates, straight toward Xerian Prime. How long? He asked. 6 hours. The Alliance scrambled. On Earth, old generals were pulled from retirement. On Zarian, the war mines were reactivated. Joint squadrons launched for the first time in history, human and alien fighters in the same sky. Jace stood on the command deck of the flagship Unity's Flame, now wearing a hybrid uniform, military black lined with silver threads of Zarian light. "This is not another war," he told the pilots. "This is the last wall between future and past. If we fall, the dream, dies." From the bridge, they watched the Black Lotus fleet arrive. It was massive. 10 times the size of any battle fleet either side had ever seen. Each ship black as a shadow, each engine burning silent blue. They made no demands, no threats, only weapons. The fleets faced each other. Vaylon finally sent a message. Jace opened the channel. Vaylon's face appeared, scarred, cold, with metallic implants across his jaw. "You think you've changed history," he growled, "but you've only delayed it." "You were one of us," Jace said. "I still am," Vaylon replied. "I'm just the part of you that remembers, the part that doesn't forgive. There's no future in more fire. There's no future in forgetting who the enemy is." "You think I married her to end a war?" "No," Vaylon said. "You married her to give it a funeral. And then the battle began." The sky tore open as ships fired at once. Unity's Flame led the charge. Human cruisers defended Zarian temples. Alien war beasts flew beside Terran drones. But the Black Lotus was ready. They used dark tech, hacked shields, weapon jamming, mine scramblers. One by one, Alliance ships fell. Inside the command ship, Jace and Seraphis gave orders together, back to back. "Pull the northern wing. Use the twin beam cannons. Call in the Omega strikes." But it wasn't enough. Then something worse happened. A coded signal was intercepted. From Earth, from within their own command chain. A secret message to the Black Lotus. "You have our support. Finish it." Betrayal, even now. Even with everything they had done. Jace's heart dropped. Seraphis placed her hand on his chest. "We still have each other." He nodded, but his voice was weak. "I'm sorry I brought this to your people." "No, you brought them a reason to fight." Below, cities were being targeted. A blast hit the lower spires. Civilians screamed. Buildings shook. Jace made the call. "Send me down." "What?" Mara shouted. "I'm going. Ground command needs a face, someone they trust, someone they follow." "I'm coming too," she said. Seraphis stepped forward. "Then so am I." Jace looked at her. "No, if we both fall." "If we fall together," she said, "they will never forget." He took her hand. "Then let's give them a story worth remembering." They landed at the edge of the city. Black Lotus ground troops were swarming. Humans with dark tech, Zarian defectors, mercenaries. It was chaos. But something happened the moment Jace and Seraphis stepped onto the battlefield. The people rose. Not just soldiers, civilians, healers, children, veterans. Zarians pulled open hidden tunnels. Humans formed shield lines with whatever they could carry. It wasn't just an army now. It was everyone. Jace charged with a plasma spear in one hand, shield in the other. Seraphis fought beside him, her blade glowing with energy drawn from the bond crystal on her finger. Mara led the strike wing overhead, screaming orders. They pushed the enemy back, block by block, until finally, Jace reached Phelan. In the center of a burning plaza, the two commanders faced each other. "You think you're a hero?" Phelan spat. "I don't," Jace said, "but I know who the villain is." They fought, blade against blade, strength against purpose. Phelan was stronger, but Jace fought with something more. Not hate. Hope. In the end, it was Seraphis who ended it. She stabbed Phelan from behind, clean, fast, silent. Jace held his enemy as he fell. "I still believe in war," Phelan whispered. "I believe in what comes after," Jace replied, and then it was over. The Black Lotus fleet, leaderless, stunned, was surrounded. Some surrendered, some self-destructed, some fled into deep space, never to be seen again. The cost was high. But peace, real peace, stood its ground. 1 week later, across the galaxy, a new flag was raised. The alliance of two suns became law. Earth and Xerion united. Trade began. Families mixed. Old enemies became neighbors. Children born after the war never learned how to hate. They only learned about the two who changed everything: Commander, Jace Riven, and Queen Seraphis. At the ceremony for the fallen, Jace stood before the galaxy. "I was taught that peace was something weak," he said, "that it was something you begged for." He looked at the stars. But peace is not weakness. Peace is the final fight. The one you don't walk away from. The one you choose every single day. He took Seraphis's hand. We chose it. And behind them, millions stood in silence, listening, believing, choosing it too. Years later, a child stood in the Unity Museum. He stared at a small ring in a glass case. The label read, "The ring that changed the war." The boy turned to his mother. "Is it true?" he asked. "He really married an alien?" The mother smiled. "No, son. He didn't marry an alien." She knelt. "He married a queen. And together, they saved us all."